Wicking Vicar is known for making high-quality, comfortable clerical shirts that make great gifts for pastors. But did you know Wicking Vicar also has great gifts for your little Lutherans? Just in time for Advent, you can get a wooden Advent wreath playset to help kids learn about Christ's incarnation. You can also pick up a wooden baptismal candle playset to celebrate your kid's baptismal birthday and teach them to sing, "God's own child, I gladly say it, I am baptized into Christ." Visit wickingvicar.com to see these gifts. That's wickingvicar.com. Listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
We get to celebrate Thanksgiving in style. I believe this podcast is dropping the week before Thanksgiving. I didn't look at my calendar before I shut my computer, but pretty sure that's when it's dropping. I could be wrong. Anyway, we get a Thanksgiving trivia today, and I am very excited about this, because I accidentally started researching what was potentially answers for my podcast for next
Sarah's
week.
brain is the only one not clouded by sugar coma from our previous episode that we just finished recording.
I have not had sugar bombs, so
sugar bombs away, baby.
She did research and she's alert.
It was accidental. I started reading stuff for the podcast for next week, and I was like, wait a second, Rachel's doing trivia. I should not be reading all of this.
It really is fascinating, though, the history of Thanksgiving. I had a lot of fun. A lot of this research was done sort of at the last minute because I forgot we were recording this today.
Whoops!
I could have easily spent 3 or 4 times as much time as I did following rabbit trail after rabbit trail after rabbit trail. So we may have to do another Thanksgiving trivia challenge at some point, because there is a practical value to this. Listen to this podcast episode and you will have a trove of fun tidbits to drag out when the conversation gets draggy at your Thanksgiving
or just
dinner.
Really awkward and you want to redirect it.
Guess what?
People start talking politics or whatever. You can be like, hey, did you know, fill in the blank. I won't spoil anything. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm here for you. I understand. I've got you.
Thank you for bringing the practical, tools for living a good life.
Yes, trivia can be useful sometimes.
It's true.
I wish my blood sugar wasn't 500.
No!
Just kidding.
That'll just make this extra fun.
Just kidding.
Oh boy.
I love Thanksgiving. My mouth starts watering for Thanksgiving dinner about 2 months ahead of time. Like, if we could just skip Halloween and have an extra few weeks of preparing for Thanksgiving, that would be fine for me, because I really enjoy this holiday. Yeah. So it was fun to dig into some of the past and present of it. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Born ready.
Yeah.
So
okay. So we just celebrated the Reformation. And actually, this year on the podcast, we went over to the English Reformation with Catherine Parr, which is appropriate for today's trivia challenge, because the original English days, that is plural, of Thanksgiving did arise directly as the result of the English Reformation. Can you tell me why? What is the connection between Thanksgiving and the English Reformation?
This is the part I accidentally researched.
It's not a connection between American Thanksgiving. It's just the connection between the English days of Thanksgiving and the English Reformation. Is that
actually
correct?
American Thanksgiving is a grandchild of the English Reformation.
Okay.
Being thankful for not being oppressed by the Anglican Church. Not Anglican Church, Roman Church. Whatever. Freedom of religion in America.
I got nothing better than that.
All right, Sarah, what do you got?
I don't remember the exact specifics, but it did have something to do with the fact that they had just split from the Catholic Church, and there was something to do with harvest stuff being connected to the Catholic Church. But that's all I remember.
Okay, so
It's not. She doesn't get credit for that.
I don't get credit for
That's
that.
a bad answer.
Makes no sense.
0 points.
Like my answer made any sense. I'm like, that made no sense.
So it was okay. So what did they lose? I'll give you a little. What did they lose when they broke from the Catholic Church? And what did, especially as the Puritans became more dominant, because of course you had the more high church Anglicans and the more Puritan Anglicans who wanted to purify Catholic practices from the church. One of the things that got purified were the 95 church holidays that had been celebrated under the Roman Catholic Church. That's not counting Sundays.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those saints' days gone. And so even people who are really committed to the to the Reformation faith, if you have 95 free days off of work and suddenly those are taken away from you. I mean, just imagine you wake up tomorrow and all your Saturdays are gone.
No.
Yeah. Ew.
So there was seen this need, because nature abhors a vacuum. If you take away a bunch of religious holidays, you're going to replace it with other holidays. We've seen this actually in our own culture.
Yep.
And so the Puritans replaced a lot of those Catholic feasts with days of Thanksgiving in response to events that Puritans viewed as acts of special providence.
Okay.
So, for example, a day of Thanksgiving was called following the English victory over the Spanish Armada in 1588, or when Queen Anne was delivered in 1605. So, you've got this great thing happened. Impromptu holiday, day of Thanksgiving. Everyone stop what you're doing and give thanks.
Okay.
So this filled a need. That's the connection.
Yeah.
Days of Thanksgiving. Of course, people gave thanks long before the Reformation, but there was this special need after they got rid of all those saints' days for something special. They also, the Puritans, going on to question 2, there was a corresponding and complementary holiday to those Puritan days of Thanksgiving that they celebrated on a grand scale, and we do not celebrate today. So what did Puritans have on the flip side of their Thanksgiving coin that we no longer generally celebrate?
Penance.
I'll give it to you, actually.
Yes.
Well, if you can call a day of Thanksgiving, you can call a day of...
Your welcome's giving.
Oh, well, actually, it's fasting. Fasting.
Okay, yeah,
right. So, the Queen had a baby. Let's have a National Day of Thanksgiving. We defeated the Spanish Armada. Let's have a National Day of Thanksgiving. We've got a plague going on. Let's not have a day of Thanksgiving. Let's have a nationwide day of fasting and prayer. Drought in 1611, floods in 1613. So, yes, days of Thanksgiving and also days of fasting. And of course, we love the day of Thanksgiving. And we don't generally, if we do fast, it tends to be an individual affair. I cannot imagine a scenario in which the president would say,
nope.
We are seeing record inflation. Everybody, I declare next Thursday a day of fasting and prayer for the whole nation. I'll see you on the White House lawn. That would not happen. Interesting thing. Some of these days of Thanksgiving were repeated more than once. Usually they were one-offs, but occasionally they were repeated and became annual things, including one notable British holiday. So which beloved British holiday originally started as one of these national days of Thanksgiving? Something good happened to the whole nation, or should I say, a crisis was averted. They declared a day of Thanksgiving and it became a national holiday that is not remembered today as a Thanksgiving Day.
I don't know British holidays.
Is it VE Day?
Oh.
Nope. Earlier.
Okay.
What kind of time frame?
Late in the year.
No, like
Boxing Day.
Let's just say we remember it.
Oh, the 5th of November.
Guy Fawkes Day.
Fawkes Day. Yes.
Oh.
So in 1606, following the failure of the gunpowder plot, a day of Thanksgiving was declared that then became an annual tradition that carries on to this day.
Oh.
See, Boxing Day carries on to this day.
Oh, yeah, it does.
No, Boxing Day does. I did not look up the history of Boxing Day, though, so I can't tell you whether that's correct or not.
It's the day after Christmas.
Why?
It's when you box up gifts for the poor and for any people who serve you.
I was punching people.
No.
I did for many years. It's the same thing. Exactly.
Unboxing Day is Christmas. I get it.
Okay,
Sorry.
I think it's time that we head over to America because that's where we live and this is where we celebrate Thanksgiving.
Stand in the Mayflower, everyone. We're going.
Hop on the Mayflower. We're going over to America. When and where was the first day of Thanksgiving in the English colonies celebrated?
Oh, wait. What was the question?
Is this a trick question?
When and where?
When and where the first day of Thanksgiving in the English colonies, approximately.
It was Plymouth, wasn't it?
I feel like that's a trick question. It was in Croatoa or whatever. No, wait, never mind.
Croatoa.
That was the St. James colony where they all disappeared or something.
I don't know what's happening right now.
I don't either.
Rachel's face.
It was definitely 16 something, right?
26?
Plymouth,
Man.
Massachusetts.
In 1675.
That wasn't that late.
Okay, just give me a where. We'll drop the when.
Not right with the Plymouth.
Wait, Plymouth isn't right?
Northeastern.
I didn't say it was right. I was just trying to keep you guys from arguing over dates.
Plymouth. I'm going with Plymouth.
Virginia.
No!
Plymouth, Virginia.
That's where Croatoa was, isn't it?
Roanoke Colony, Bree.
Oh, that's the right.
Near the Croatan people.
Yes. You've never heard that story?
No.
Oh my God.
Last colony of Roanoke. It's really fun. But no, Virginia, actually. So remember how days of Thanksgiving were not all that unusual. They were just a regular, yay, we had a great day. Let's take a day to celebrate and thank the Lord.
Seems nice.
So the annual Thanksgiving holiday tradition, and there's some debate, like scholars and historians and internet people like to yell about when and where the first Thanksgiving was.
What?
However, in 1619, in what is now the Commonwealth of Virginia, 38 English, 1619. 38 English settlers aboard the ship Margaret arrived up the James River into Charles City County, Virginia, on December 4th, 1619. And the landing was immediately followed by a religious celebration as specifically dictated by their charter from the London Company. So the charter mandated that the day of our ship's arrival at the place assigned for plantation in the land of Virginia shall be yearly and perpetually kept holy as a day of thanksgiving to Almighty God.
Wow.
Like that was just written into their charter, which is really cool. And I believe there is a place in Virginia where they do still keep that tradition of celebrating a Thanksgiving, a day of Thanksgiving on December 4th. So
interesting.
Yeah. But yes, normally we think of Plymouth. So, all right. We will go up to Massachusetts where all those pilgrims and Indians or Puritans and Wampanoags got together for a big old feast in 1621. And we really like to talk food on this show. So I will ask you, this is sort of a open-ended question. There are multiple right answers. There are also multiple wrong answers. So good luck. If you were to plan your menu to match this particular famous feast of Thanksgiving, what would you put on it? What are you serving if you want to have an authentic Thanksgiving feast?
Oysters.
Ooh, good. Yeah. I'll give you a point for oysters.
Yes.
Wow. Was there actually turkey?
You know, some people say there wasn't actually turkey, but I have a quote here from William Bradford, who was the colony's governor, and he said that our harvest being gotten in, our governor sent 4 men on fowling, so that we might after a special manner rejoice together, after we had gathered the fruits of our labors. They 4 in one day killed as much fowl as with a little help beside served the company almost a week. So we don't know exactly what fowl they killed.
Pheasant, maybe.
A turkey.
Could have been. Wild turkey were certainly a possibility. Canada geese, maybe? I don't know. Just wild fowl. So sure. I'll give you wild turkey, not domestic turkey.
Generic fowl.
Generic, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right.
Let's say sweet potatoes.
No. Nope.
Dang it.
Corn?
Corn. Yes, I'll give you corn, but not the way you think. Think corn mush.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. Not corn on the cob.
Yeah.
No.
Boiled and pounded into mush.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because they didn't have sweet corn like that's been developed.
And they
long
also
as-
wouldn't have had a way to keep sweet
much more
corn. They would have dried it in the field and used it as a
It would be
grain,
more like-
not as a vegetable.
like
cornmeal.
fufu or
Porridge.
what they eat in Africa.
Yeah.
There's different names for it,
Or
but
like
it's
hominy.
basically made with more like feed corn.
Yeah.
Hominy. Nice pozole.
Green
Okay.
beans?
Beans, possibly.
What about like gourds of some sort?
Yeah,
Gourds.
pumpkins and other squashes,
Gourds.
but
Um,
not what?
Stovetop stuffing.
Well,
Not.
how would they have served their pumpkins?
Not as a pie.
Not
As
as a
a
pie.
sweet-
You're quite
yeah,
right.
not as-
Even though pies were very popular in England, at this stage, they would have probably run out of most of their provisions, including all of their sugar, most of their flour, and probably all of their butter. So there would have been no pie crust. They might have made sort of a pumpkin custard, which would have
pudding.
been pretty tasty if you.
Mhm.
It would not have been very sweet, though,
Unless they found some honey.
unless they found some honey. Yeah.
They found a hive.
Mhm.
It's true.
Yeah.
What else is it? I don't know
They
what else.
might have had cranberries, but probably no cranberry sauce. So
Yeah.
imagine your cranberries with no sugar. Because again,
Oof.
no sugar.
It's a punch in the mouth.
Right in
Uh-huh.
the mouth. Right in the teeth.
So yes, if you want to have an authentic, there's one more ingredient that they would have had
Ooh.
because their guests, the Wampanoags, arrived with a gift of 5 deer.
Oh, venison.
We know
Nice.
that there was venison served. So if you want to have an authentic Pilgrim and
Deer and
Indian,
oysters.
you want,
Mhm.
you're going to have some sort of wild fowl. You're going to have venison. You're going to have corn mush, possibly onions, beans, spinach, cabbage, maybe some peas. You're going to have mussels and a lot of seafood, maybe even a lobster. That would be good. Bass,
maybe.
clams, oysters. You're going to have pumpkins and squashes, but they are not going to be sweet. I'm sorry. And any cranberries or wild berries that you pick are also not going to be sweet. But it actually sounds like a pretty good meal. I would eat that. Yeah.
Sounds disgusting.
One thing you would not
Some herbs, like you'll have some like
Ramps.
you have like
It'd be a lot more
there's gonna be
savory than
some
sweet.
seasonings.
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, and there's probably lots of salt and wild onions. It'd be good. You will have no mashed potatoes though, because mashed potatoes, they came from South America. They made it to Europe in about 1570. So they would have been in Europe at this point, but the Europeans were still figuring out that they were edible. And so they would not have crossed back over
Right.
to North America by this point.
Yeah.
So no mashed potatoes. Sorry.
Mashed potatoes. Dang.
Yeah. All right, moving on. I'm just like, I really shouldn't talk about Thanksgiving dinner, even in
I'm
a
so
hypothetical way, because it makes me so hungry. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, there were lots of days of Thanksgiving, but the first time we had a national day of Thanksgiving was when President George Washington famously declared it on November 26th, 1989. He proclaimed
That's not right.
Not 1989.
1789 typo. Thank you.
I was 3 years old.
President George Washington famously, so famously that everyone caught this immediately, declared the first National Day of Thanksgiving on November 26, 1789.
Okay.
He proclaimed that date, quote, as a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many and signal favors of Almighty God. In that same proclamation, he also called on all Americans to do something special on that day. What was it?
Eat pie.
Buy war bonds.
I love this.
Do something special?
Uh-huh.
I don't play a game with their family.
Okay. No. He called on Americans to, quote, unite in most humbly offering our prayers and supplications to the great Lord and ruler of nations and beseech him to pardon our national and other transgressions.
Oh, that's a good idea.
He called on all Americans to repent of their sins,
Wow. Could you imagine?
individual and national.
Huh.
Wow.
I know.
can't only imagine.
I cannot imagine President Biden standing up and being like, this day of Thanksgiving, I want us all to get on our knees and beg God's forgiveness for our many sins.
I
That wouldn't go
I can't
over well.
remember any president.
I don't think
in my
a
lifetime.
president in the last 25
Yeah.
years would do that.
No, but President Washington did.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so
Different
let's
time.
Let's talk now about the date of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is a very movable feast. And of course, those early, English and Puritan days of Thanksgiving, they were just, hauled out as needed. How exactly then did Washington settle on late November for his day of national Thanksgiving? It was not random. There was a specific event that meant a lot to him personally that had taken place several years before that Americans were celebrating, and in some places still regionally celebrate today. Okay? So what happened towards the end of November, a few years before, that Washington was particularly thankful for?
The crossing of the Potomac.
Okay. Anyone else?
I don't know. Wasn't that like in the winter? I feel like it's
the painting makes me feel cold when I look at
The
it.
crossing of the Delaware took place right before Christmas.
The Delaware.
That was my fooled me. Honestly,
Okay, keep going.
Can you give a year? Will that give that away?
1783 was the year in which this event took place.
Was it It was a national event?
It's a very small nation.
Was it Martha's 40th birthday?
No, I think she was a little older than that by then.
I don't know.
I love Martha Washington. She would have fit right in the lounge. I just got to say.
Martha Washington.
Did something become a state?
Ooh.
Nope. Okay, I'll tell you what the day was called, and then maybe It was called Evacuation Day.
Did they escape a fire?
No.
Or the British?
The British. Yeah, the British were involved. November 25th in 1783 was when the British Army left New York. After the end of the American Revolutionary War. And it was sort of this milestone of they're gone. We've got our country back. Because when Washington, early in the war in 1776, when he had to abandon New York, that stung. He spent the rest of the war basically trying to figure out A, how to win, and B, how to get New York back. And so this was a spiritual milestone. Now, Evacuation Day was celebrated for a long time, over 50 years, and in some places is still, remembered. And but eventually, as Thanksgiving sort of settled on this date or around this date, it sort of evaporated because it's just a lesser thing. So
You're reading that book about the Revolutionary War, aren't you, right now?
Not right now, no, but I have been reading it.
Very specific.
So the observance of the date of Evacuation Day was finally diminished by the Thanksgiving Day Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln. So although the date of Thanksgiving has moved around a lot over the years, Abraham Lincoln was the one who first regularized the annual observance of it, setting it for the last Thursday in November, beginning in 1863. So it has sort of stayed put since then, sort of, I say. It was moved once or twice more, once more by presidential decree. Later on, after Lincoln, it was moved by presidential decree, prompting some smart Alex to rename the day Franksgiving.
Franklin Roosevelt.
Brucey.
Yes.
Brucey.
So Franklin Roosevelt moved Thanksgiving.
And everyone hated it.
Do you know why? Can you guess
it was
why?
Eleanor's 40th birthday.
The war?
Nope.
The war. Just the war.
It had more to do with the Depression.
Oh, people didn't have food or money.
But why would he move it? What would
I don't
that? How
know.
would that give
He
them
moved
food
it
or money?
permanently.
This is
That's a
probably
good
what
question.
everyone was like. How did moving it give us any food or money? It didn't. Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
On
You're not.
October
Lucky
31st, 1939, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed a presidential proclamation changing the holiday to the next to last Thursday in November, a full 7 days earlier, in an effort to boost the economy, creating extra days for Christmas shopping.
Oh,
That was completely opposite.
disgusting.
However,
How'd that work out for you, dude?
people were not in favor of the change because it really messed with everyone's holiday schedules.
Well, yeah.
It probably didn't help that he gave everyone like 3 weeks notice.
Terrible timing.
It's awful.
So what happened was utter chaos. Some state governors went along with it. Others stuck with the original date. And
wow.
3 states, Colorado, Mississippi, and Texas, had 2 Thanksgivings for several years afterwards.
This feels very familiar.
Oh my
Like, why does that feel like the
gosh.
last year and a half?
It's like daylight savings all over again.
Wow.
So finally, 2 years later, on Christmas, this time giving everyone like 11 months to prepare, December 26, 1941, he signed a joint resolution of Congress changing the official National Thanksgiving Day to the 4th Thursday in November, starting in 1942. So his presidential decree started so much chaos that he then took it to Congress. And by the way, this Thanksgiving declaration that sorted out all this mess happened like 3 weeks after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
So
noticing
there was a
that.
lot going on there, but somehow Congress was like, we're going to come back on Boxing Day
Like, we need to give people something to look forward to.
and sort out this Thanksgiving mess.
Push Thanksgiving
Yeah.
forward a week.
Kind of crazy.
Mhm.
This is just a war going on. No
It's
big
just
deal.
It's just the war.
Just the
Mhm.
war.
It'll all be wrapped up by then, so you can have this to
Bored?
look forward to.
Yeah, typical.
Right? Yeah. Boy.
Okay. So this has all been very American
Yes.
because Thanksgiving is an American holiday. It has its roots in the English Reformation, but the British do not now celebrate a day of Thanksgiving every year, as we do in the US. Indeed, there are only 5 countries that have a national holiday that they call Thanksgiving. Can you guess any of the 5?
Canada. Just had
United
it.
States.
There you go. Low-hanging fruit. Yes, the United States and Canada are 2 of the 5, so points all around.
Australia.
No.
Mexico?
No.
Germany.
No.
France?
No.
No,
Chile?
you know what? It's
No.
probably some like Nordic land does it because they're just happy and thankful. Oh,
Russia?
No.
China.
No.
Let's
Greece?
see if we can narrow down a continent.
yeah. Okay,
No.
let's start there.
How about South America?
No.
Wow. Europe?
Africa.
Hang on, Googling. One of these.
Egypt.
It only leaves us Asia.
All right.
Philippines?
Africa, yes. There's one in Africa.
One. Good golly.
Okay, I was right. Yes, one in Africa, none in Asia.
And it's related to the harvest, or it's just also called a National Day of Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Called a National Day of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Kenya.
No.
South Africa?
Botswana.
No. I'll keep going until you guys give up.
Chad.
No.
Nigeria.
Liberia.
Ah, you got one. Liberia.
It's because of America. Liberia.
Yeah, there's an American connection there. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have
we've
3?
got.
No, you're done in Africa.
No,
okay,
no.
but there's 3.
There's-
We've identified 3.
Yeah,
There's
you've got
2 more.
3. You probably won't
Are
get
they
the
in
other 2.
Europe?
Okay,
Oh,
where's
where
our
are
other?
they?
What are our continents?
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
Wait,
Are
Not
we?
in
Are they
Europe.
all in Europe?
Not in Europe.
what are we missing?
None in Europe. Okay, so Asia. It has to be Asia then.
I suppose technically,
Turkey.
okay, they're both in the Caribbean. How many Caribbean nations can you name?
Dominican Republic.
No,
Haiti.
no,
Cuba?
no.
Jamaica.
No,
Colombia.
no.
The US Virgin
I know all these.
U.S. Virgin Islands?
No.
Turks and Caicos.
No.
Grenada.
St.
Kitts.
Kitts.
Grenada. Ding.
Okay, one more.
I only know this from watching the Parade of Nations at the Olympics. That's the only. I watched the whole thing for all of the countries, and this is why.
U.S. minor outlying islands.
Bermuda.
No.
Bahama.
Come on,
Bahamas?
pretty mama. Key Largo. Come on.
Antigua?
And Barbados.
No.
Barbados.
Trinidad.
No.
And Tobago.
Oh,
Tobaggons.
I'm running out of ones.
It's in the Lesser Antilles.
Greater Antilles.
It's called. Well, let's see. What other
What's it start with?
S?
Seychelles.
Solomon Islands.
Those are in the Pacific, Sarah.
I know.
Salvador.
Boy, I don't know if I know.
Is Salvador even
We
a
clearly
country?
do not know.
No,
I
we
don't
don't.
know what about this. I don't know.
Has a thing to do sometime tonight. So I'm going to call it
obvious.
here
We
and
do
give
not
you
know.
4 out of 5 is really impressive.
That is not
So
bad.
we've got the United States, Canada, Liberia, Grenada, and St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
I knew it.
Tip
I
of
didn't
my
know it.
tongue.
Did you though?
I didn't know it, but I know that's an island.
You're going to be listening to this later when you edit, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, why did we allow ourselves to go on this long?" Naming random countries, coming back, circling, saying them again just in case.
St. Lucia. I will never
Yes.
forget that St. Lucia is a Caribbean island now.
Okay.
20 minutes later.
I'm getting hungry, so let's talk about food some more, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I always think of Thanksgiving dinner as a meal steeped in history and tradition, but this isn't necessarily so. We've already talked about how potatoes and cranberry sauce and pie crust were later add-ons. So is one of the most popular side dishes always served at my table, family favorite, which famously joined the Thanksgiving lineup in 1955. Which side dish am I talking about?
Stovetop stuffing.
No,
Brussels sprouts.
Dang it.
Brussels sprouts were not invented in 1955.
Um,
I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
invented. Okay, so it's
Wait,
it's
it
some
was
crazy like
invented?
processed convenience food.
Velveeta?
Yeah, it involves processed convenience food. Of course it does.
Mac and cheese. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Margarine?
Aaron, you're going to get this. I believe in you.
My brain is
Grand's
done
biscuits.
from guessing countries.
Yeah, right now I'm
1955.
all I can think of are homemade things. I'm not thinking of any of the the store-bought items.
King's
Stuffing?
Hawaiian rolls.
I'll start giving you clues and you will then go, oh, yes.
This is a
It was
fun game.
invented by a woman who sounds like she could have been a Lutheran lady. Dorcas Lillian Bates Riley, an American
Wow.
chef and inventor who worked for several years in the Campbell's test kitchen creating new recipes.
Mushroom soup.
Mushrooms. Soup.
What do you use mushroom soup in?
Green bean casserole!
Yes, Riley was called the grandmother of the green bean bake.
Ah,
I
Yeah.
love green bean casserole. I'm so hungry.
I know, right? It was created in 1955 by Dorcas Riley at the Campbell Soup Company. As of 2020, Campbell's estimated that it was served in 20 million Thanksgiving dinners in the United States each year, and
Wow.
that 40% of the company's cream of mushroom soup sales go into some version of this one dish.
I believe it.
oh my
crazy.
Green bean casserole
Pretty much.
carries the Campbell's company. Like, that is their revenue stream.
Yes.
Straight up.
If it weren't for green bean casserole, cream of mushroom soup would have been pulled years ago because
Years
that's
ago.
what people buy it for.
Straight up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Green bean casserole may be my family's favorite side, but statistically speaking, we are in the minority. According to Parade magazine, what is America's favorite Thanksgiving side dish?
Sweet potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Ew, no.
It's stuffing. It's stuffing.
It is stuffing. Brie?
Yeah.
Well done.
Like hot stuffing or cold stuffing? 'Cause
Cold stuffing.
Wait. I grew up with cold stuffing.
What? Tell me.
I thought everybody had cold stuffing.
What? Tell me this.
What even
story.
is a cold stuffing?
So you make the stuffing, but then you chill it, and then you put all of your like apples and raisins into.
Is
the,
it like a cornbread
like-
stuffing?
It's
Or is it rice?
no, it's the stuffing mix, but you have
Oh.
apples and raisins and walnuts and stuff in it.
We
No,
do that
but it's-
too.
With all
What?
due respect to your family, that is really, really unusual.
Did you just run out of time to cook it? And so your mom's like, I'm just going to have it
I mean,
cold.
don't get me wrong. Like my family does weird stuff with stuffing,
Yeah, but
but I've
cold?
never heard that before.
maybe I'm only remembering the leftovers because they were delicious.
Yeah, leftover.
But I don't remember
Okay.
it. No, but we chilled it. We put it in the fridge. I remember this.
Listen,
I was going to call you up and be like, Sarah, we totally served our stuffing hot. What are you talking about?
Listen.
And then
I'm going to have to ask my brother.
I'm
pull it out
standing-
and bake it.
I'm standing in solidarity with my sister, Sarah Gulseth, and I'm hoping that somebody out there has also eaten cold stuffing, like
As part of the main
As
meal.
part of the main meal.
Not
Okay, so now I'm trying to
leftovers.
remember.
Totally eating cold stuffing by the fistful, but as leftovers.
Leftovers. And you'd often make it in advance, so it'd be in the fridge, but then you pull it out and put it in the oven.
No, we did not put it in the oven.
Before-
Mm-mm.
You serve it.
We did not put it in the oven. It was out of the fridge. I'm telling you.
Wow.
It's so,
So
good.
weird.
And nobody makes it that way. So
Of
like I have
course
this
not.
childhood memory of this stuffing and I can't get it anywhere except at my parents' house. And it's so sad.
Okay, well, if you find your recipe, I want to see that because apparently
First
it's
time-
good.
The first time I went to my brain. First time I went to my husband's family's house for Thanksgiving and they had hot stuffing that didn't have any sweet stuff in it. I did not know what to do with it. I was like, what is this?
You eat it.
Very personal. It's
Stuffing
true. And I've
is
long thought it
tremendously-
needed to be tackled by our group. So maybe next Thanksgiving we need to do a grand
Iron Lady
Please
stuffing
do. I mean,
episode.
I like, we
And-
often have served two stuffings because let's face it, anyone under 21 is going to want stovetop straight from the box prepared according
No.
to the
Mhm.
suggestion.
That's
but-
true.
I
So
love
gross.
oyster stuffing is really good.
Mhm.
Cornbread, I do not
I-
like sweet stuff and stuffing, but I know lots of people that do.
I live in a
Yeah.
house divided, and I grew up on a savory stuffing, and my
Yeah.
husband grew up on golden raisins and green apples, and
Mhm.
I'm like, you're
Yeah, that's what
insane.
we had in ours.
We
But now
like
it's
a
an
nice.
apple.
We don't stick with just one. We move around.
You gotta
But
mix it
indeed, this
up.
is going to
Yeah.
be a whole episode someday.
Mm.
So
We'll revisit.
Let's
stay
stay
tuned
this.
next year.
For
We're gonna
now,
bring it.
we can
Ask my
simply
family.
say that
I'm crazy.
just like the common table prayer, stuffing is the most popular on our
Mm.
tables. However, which version you use may vary.
Yeah.
Highly up for
Hotly
debate.
contested.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will talk about stuffing any day of the week. So if anyone wants to
This
at
is
me,
going to be a great episode.
I just texted my brother to make sure I'm
12
not crazy.
12
so.
months from now, you're going to love it.
Please, let's
I'm gonna put
do
it in my
this.
calendar right
Okay.
now.
reserve the studio.
I'm doing it. Episode.
Okay, so let's look at all that Thanksgiving food. Question 12, by the way, if you're keeping track at home.
Oh, okay.
I'm not keeping
okay.
track.
We got stuffing. We got casseroles, like gloppy casseroles. We got turkey gravy. We got gobs and gobs of potato peelings. And all of this can lead to some unintended consequences, which brings us to our next question.
Oh, boy.
Among whom is the day after Thanksgiving commonly known as Brown Friday?
Ew.
And why?
Plumbers.
You are correct.
Because the toilets get all stuffed up with gross.
I have a wonderful bit of writing here. And you know I know good writing.
Uh-huh.
From the Roto-Rooter blog.
Yes.
Yes.
From an article entitled, Why the Day After Thanksgiving is So Busy for Plumbers.
I love it.
They write, it's not a myth. The day after Thanksgiving is the busiest day of the year for America's largest provider of plumbing, sewer, and drain services, Roto-Rooter. Think about the reasons why. The holiday is all about a big meal. When cooks get busy in the kitchen preparing a feast, lots of food and scraps end up down the kitchen drain and into the garbage disposal.
Mm.
Turkey drippings. It's just increase. Hot drippings may be in liquid form when poured down the drain, but the liquid will solidify like candle wax once it cools down inside the pipes. Rice and pasta swell when introduced to water. Worse, they'll break down into a starchy gel and clog the pipes. Toss in some poultry skin, dressing, vegetable peels, and a bone or two, and you've got a sewer or drain clog of monumental proportions.
That's gross.
Many Thanksgiving hosts have overnight guests who take showers, baths, flush toilets, and might even do a laundry load or two. The extra strain on the plumbing system is like the proverbial last straw that breaks a camel's back. It can be a very nasty mess that threatens to ruin the holiday mood of even the most delightful host. Poetry.
I could listen to Rachel dramatically read the Roto-Rooter at any time. Like, you should do an audiobook of these. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat. She's talking about Brown Friday, and I'm like, ooh, tell me more. What happens next?
So yes, you may be out shopping, but your local plumber is probably doing some pretty nasty stuff.
Double is what he's charging.
If you are married to a plumber, you can have a little fun on your Friday shopping trip.
Know your worth, son.
Just make sure you buy him a really nice present because he will have earned it.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. I feel like maybe we need a palate cleanser after that last question.
Yeah.
So let's go for something completely different and a lot more hymn nerdy.
Hymn nerdy, what?
Sarah sits up. She's like, I'm awake now. Which beloved Thanksgiving hymn was originally published as a table prayer?
Come, Lord Jesus, be our guest.
Maybe, but no, that's not the one I'm thinking of here.
Beloved
Thanksgiving
prayer was originally Beloved Thanksgiving hymn was originally a prayer.
Yeah, and Sarah already got it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now I think we all are.
Now I think we all are God.
Those for the next podcast. And that's the only one I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay, well, I won't spoil the whole thing. There's quite a story behind it. So listen to Sarah's Thanksgiving hymns episode. It will be great. Martin Ringhart, for what is relevant for this, is that in his Jesu Herzbuchlein in 1636, Nun danket alle God appears under the title Tisch Gebetlein, table prayer. So, short prayer before meals. And this is another spoiler for... I forgot you were doing a hymn episode.
It's okay.
That's okay.
We're just overlapping. I got some trivia in mind too. So
Sweet.
It's all good.
Bring it. Okay, we got one more hymn question because I just love this and I had to include it. So while we are in the hymnal, let us talk about one of the newer hymn texts to join the Thanksgiving Day lineup. Which Thanksgiving fan favorite hymn shares a tune with a 1971 pop music hit?
Ugh. What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Is it one of the four in the hymnal?
It's in the stewardship section. But when I was hymn planning, I always put this one on Thanksgiving.
Okay. Hang on a second. It's on the tip of my tongue.
What?
It's the Morning Has Broken is the tune, right?
Yes, it is. Well done. I'll give you the point for
Praise and Thanksgiving!
Yes, there it is.
Yes.
Tell which one you learned first.
The lyrics to Praise and Thanksgiving are probably still under copyright, so we can't sing them here without permission, but the tune definitely is not. Da 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 da. This is the tune Bunnesan. It is a hymn tune based on a Scotch folk melody named for a village in the Ross of Mull, originally associated with the Christmas carol Child in the Manger, but most anybody born, well, let's just call it like it is, any baby boomers out there will recognize this tune from the 1971 Cat Stevens hit Morning Has Broken. You will not see the footnotes for the hymn. And I really hope that this hymn might be included in your episode, Sarah, because I want to know more about it.
Well, I'm putting that in my notes right now.
Yes.
And everyone listening out there, tune in for Sarah's next hymn sing episode.
Yeah, get a little more background.
I love Cat Stevens.
I know. That's why I was so surprised you didn't know it immediately.
Yeah, I know a few of his songs, but he just is very, I love him. Peace Train.
That did show up in the poll in the Facebook group for Thanksgiving
and
hymns,
that's why.
So
On
Okay.
the boat, the beach.
Okay, we've made it to the last question.
Oh boy.
Yep. And it's not a silly question. It's a good question, I think.
Oh.
That's okay.
We have lots of secular traditions surrounding Thanksgiving. We got the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the presidential turkey pardon, which I think is just ridiculous myself. Black Friday is actually kind of a Thanksgiving thing. And my personal favorite would be the annual Michigan ritual of watching the Lions lose while you put away the leftovers.
Yes, it's mine. Can't wait for that this year. It's already recorded. Already set to record.
Like it's such a tradition at this point. We don't even care. Like if they won, it would almost spoil it.
Be weird. Yep. Gotta watch the Lions though.
Mm-hmm.
And then they eat the turkey legs at the end. And
Yeah.
Anyway.
However, history reminds us that Thanksgiving is, at its heart, always a religious observance. After all, Thanksgiving is not a day for just feeling vaguely thankful about life. To give thanks means that you are giving thanks to somebody. And I think every traditional Thanksgiving celebration has understood that it is a day for giving thanks to God. And so even though Thanksgiving is not strictly on our liturgical calendar of feasts and commemorations, I do think it's right that so many churches do host Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve services. And I'm also very grateful that our hymnals and agendas recognize and support that and give us readings and hymn suggestions for the day. So our final question is this. LSB, Lutheran Service Book, recommends 4 readings, 1 Old Testament, 2 epistle readings, and a gospel reading for the Thanksgiving service. Can you suggest which scriptures any of those might be? And I'll just help you out here. Go for the gospel. It's the most obvious. What readings are we going to be hearing in our churches this year if they follow the hymnal?
The lepers, where only one returned to give thanks. That's my first guess.
And it's a winner. Yes.
Yay!
The traditional gospel reading for Thanksgiving Day is the miracle of the 10 men with leprosy who stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go, your faith has made you well." Like, that's it. That's the model of how we thank God. Recognize you have done great things for us. We are going to stop what we're doing, turn about, fall down, and say thank you. It's the only right thing to do. So, hey, good job on the quiz.
Was it though?
I had fun.
It was fun.
Oh, it was fun.
I got oysters.
We win. I don't even know. Did you get more right than wrong?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Hey, but we got 4 out of 5 countries.
Collectively,
Oh yeah,
maybe.
I wasn't keeping track.
Quite a few of them. And granted, the question about where the first Thanksgiving was, that was a trick question. You were quite right there. I was looking forward to that one. And you guys very obligingly stepped into it. So good sports there.
Croatoa, not an actual place. That's that's one of my favorite stories from American history. Like colonization era. Definitely read it. It's fun.
There's actually, and I got this from my kids, there's a graphic novel edition of
Really?
Yeah, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. So you can find that.
Interesting.
All right.
So
is Croatoa actually Roanoke? Is Croatoa?
We don't know what the word means.
Oh, I thought so it's not, you were accidentally saying it wrong and it's supposed to be Roanoke.
There is a word.
Got
the way
it.
that I understand it is it happened in Roanoke. All these people disappeared.
Okay.
Oh.
And there was a tree with the word Croatoa carved into it.
So what probably happened was they got hungry and went and hung out with the Croatan Indians and just sort of, assimilated. That's the prevailing theory.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lost Colony of Roanoke.
Okay.
Great story. Wonderful mystery. Gives me the willies, honestly.
Yep. That's why I like it.
Yeah. Well, to close this quiz and also to put us in a grand and thankful mood, may I read just a couple of verses from the appointed epistle for the day from Philippians chapter 4.
That's what I was going to guess.
May
Yes.
I? Philippians chapter 4. Yeah, that would have been a good guess. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Amen.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Ladies, we want to know how well you did on the quiz. And if you'll be using any of these trivia questions in your what may or may not be awkward conversations on Thanksgiving Day, you're welcome for the random bits of trivia. It'll be super fun.
I will include links to some of these things in the show notes so you can look them up and print them out and have them under the table.
Yes. And I looked, this podcast is dropping 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, so you have plenty of time to study up.
Great.
And memorize your facts. Get them all straight. But anyway, join us in our Facebook group, the Lutheran Ladies Lounge on Facebook, and follow us on our Instagram page at Lutheran Ladies Lounge. We'll be, I don't know, we might share some of these throughout the week too, just for funsies. You can also get the Lutheran Ladies Lounge in your inbox if you're not on social, or if you just like getting email from us, that's cool too. You can send us an email at Nope. You can email lutheranladies at kfuo.org to get signed up for that e-newsletter, or you can find out how to do that in the show notes for this episode. You can find all of our podcasts at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge, or on your favorite podcasting app, or on the KFUO radio app. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm definitely breaking up the awkward silence by saying, hey, let me tell you about Brown Friday.
Yes.
And I was hungry, but suddenly I'm not hungry anymore. Thanks, Drew.
Sorry.
KFUO Radio and the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast are underwritten in part by Wicking Vicar. Visit them online at wickingvicar.com. Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a review for us too. If you love the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast, consider financially supporting our producer, KFUO Radio, so we can keep doing what we do. Find out how at kfuo.org/give.
Hilarious.
Brown Friday.
That was my favorite part of the whole quiz. I found that in this like random list of like 50 trivia questions for Thanksgiving dinner, and there was no citation for it. I was like, that can't be right. Absolutely cannot be right. So I did more digging, and sure enough, it was right.
You straight up Google searched Brown Friday.
I did. Brown Friday plumbers.
Safe search mode on.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't have an office, so I don't have to worry about anyone from IT looking down my shoulder.
Why were you Google searching Brown Friday?
No, it would just be Ken, and I don't think he cares.